All right, so hello from Greece, Paxos to be exact. This is our second destination in Greece so far after Corfu. We've been in Greece, like a week or so? Yeah, like a week.
More.
A week and a couple days, maybe. Yeah, the days kind of...
We stayed 6 days in Corfu, so...
6?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's almost 2 weeks. Yeah, so what do I know about time at this point?
It'll be 2 weeks on Tuesday or Wednesday.
First of all, happy Father's Day to you, and happy Father's Day to all of our fathers who are listeners. We wanted to talk about anchoring today. It's kind of all things putting your boat in place. So that includes anchoring, mooring balls, med mooring, stern ties, dock spaces so far and what we've observed. I think I'll preface this whole podcast by saying this is just our experience so far. We do not, attempt to claim that we're experts on the topic. It's just our observation and learnings so far since we've been on the boat. So, you have any opening thoughts before we kind of dive right in?
It's a shit show.
It's a shit show. It is. It's kind of chaos. It has been, huh? A little bit.
I mean, yes and no.
Some more than others.
And it's still early in the season. Definitely this weekend, or Sunday today, June 20, feels that now we have a lot more charter boats.
Yeah.
So that's going to add more boats, but also more inexperienced sailors. So that's one thing when you see liveaboards that are going to anchor next to you, you have a little bit of a confidence into their ability. But when you have people who are just chartering for a week, then
it's not the chartering, it's their body language, like they're not confident and maybe aren't doing things
it's different. We do these.
Well, we chartered too, so yeah.
Hey, you have to learn. So
Yeah.
No question. No, it's just a matter of fact that now we've bbeen living on our boat for short season plus the beginning of this season.
You practice every day, sort of.
That's what you live by every day, and you think about it when you go on vacation and charter a boat for a week. I mean, that's not something you've been practicing quite a bit. So it's totally normal. But
yeah.
So I was just saying that your level of confidence when you see another boat and you say, okay, that's like a liveaboard, you look at it from one eye. But when it's a charter boat, you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And that's normal.
And the reason why this deserves its own podcast episode is because the amount of time we spend thinking about our anchor or where other people are going to anchor next to us when you're on the boat in a crowded bay is what, like 50% of your waking hours when you're on the boat?
It depends.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll talk about a little bit. But every time a boat comes, well, especially we're in a bay.
Yeah, so describe it first. Yeah. Let's talk about where we are.
Gorgeous.
It's fabulous.
And
might be why it's so crowded.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a destination for sure. I don't know. What's the name of the? It's called
Laka Paxos on Paxos Island.
Yeah,
so
the
northern end. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, the water is green and blue and
turquoise,
and it's well protected except from northerly and easterly winds, kind of. So it's a great destination, and it's a great destination
beautiful.
for charterers too. So
quaint little town. I mean, it's this cute little sweet place,
and it's sandy bottom, and it's fairly shallow,
deep,
5 meters maybe at the most. So it's a great spot.
And the beautiful white rock, that you see in the pictures, of Greece. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But how many boats do you think are in this bay right now?
Oh, the first night, Bella counted 30.
32.
Yeah, 32.
I would say there's at least 45 now boats.
Yeah, probably, because you add charter boats that have arrived today.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what happens is, well, you get a picture in your head when you set your destination of what the bay is going to look like. And,
Right.
and so you check Navily, you check Navionics, you check like the pilot book, and you get some idea. But
You arrive
you have
and
to
it's
reassess.
like, bam, there's so many boats.
Yeah, because there are many boats. And maybe you thought this little bay will be great to anchor, but then suddenly there is like a swim line in the middle of it. And you're like, oh, now that's out of question. So you have to go to plan B.
Or
plan
suddenly
C.
there's mooring balls, and that's all that will fit. And the mooring balls are attached to the restaurant, and maybe that's not what you want to do that night.
Might not be, but it's a good backup plan. You grab a mooring ball, and everybody has to do the same, and then you're set.
Right.
So that's like, but that's not something you want to do as a primary thing. So,
or the depth of the water, like you kind of know that from Navily and Navionics before you get in. But like this bay is shallow. Croatia was much deeper, so you had limitations on how you anchored or attached.
So you have to have a destination, but probably to be ready to switch to plan B, plan C, which means this is counter to sailing, but you want to get there early. And you want to get there when boats are leaving the destination where you're coming to. So some boats, leave like mid to late morning, but
like 10, 11.
But you see some boats leaving early afternoon. So that will be that. Kind of hear some music in the background. So that will be that window. So the earlier you come, boats, not as many boats have left maybe, but you can always have in mind to basically, okay, I'm going to find a spot for now, and I'm going to keep looking, which counts towards the time you were talking about, because now you're like, okay, that's a decent anchorage spot, but if a boat moves, like, we might want to re-anchor. So you have to have that frame of mind to be thinking, just find the best anchorage you can find
for that day,
for that time, for that moment in the day, and keep observing what's happening. Take the standard paddleboard, look around, and as soon as you see a boat moving, you might be like, okay, let's move. So there'll be that situation, or there'll be the situation you might be happy with your anchoring spot, but then a boat is going to come, usually like late in the day, and they come and just like sit on top of you. And
this was
like,
the liveaboard yesterday.
Yeah, and then you're like, really? Like, what are you
so
thinking?
what happened yesterday was we got situated, and then we went into town, and we weren't super happy with where we were, but it was good enough for the first day. And
it was good. I think we were in a good spot. I don't know. I was okay with it.
Okay. I thought with the wind and stuff, we were kind of looking at other options.
What happened in this case is we have a pretty long bridle. So we have a Mantis Bridle, and we bought the version for 50 to 60 foot boat. And it's a 10 meter.
Oversized. Max size. Yeah.
Which I think overall is good. It has maybe some disadvantages. So overall length is 10 meters. I calculated basically once the attach points are made on each bow, it's basically 9 meters that you're adding. So if you're in 5 meters of water, it's going to be in the bottom if there is no wind, which is okay. The problem is you want to pull on the bridle, so to reverse hard, and to
dig in the anchor.
And then you want to ease just the amount of chain necessary so the load is on the bridle and not on the chain anymore. And so far we've been in deeper water, so we're just kind of like,
yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Well, no, we drop more chain than we need to, and that's fine because it's just, you don't have to pay attention too much to that. In a shallow anchorage, or not shallow, but 5 meters,
5 meters, yeah.
you want to release just the amount of chain necessary. Because what happened the other day is we released more chain, and then suddenly the weight of that chain between the boat and the attachment point on the bridle and is going to act as a point of rotation for the boat. So suddenly we're rotating, we're coming back to the boat, and we're close to another boat, which happens to be a big steel boat that has probably a long keel all the way along the hull.
We decided it didn't move. Like the keel was either hitting the bottom or it just didn't move.
It was not.
It was not rotating.
You see boats moving around, and those guys just simply don't move.
Right. Usually the boats all rotate with the wind, and this boat just didn't ever
eventually
move.
it moved and stuff, but it's like much differently from every other boat.
So anyway, we come back
with our chain, more chain touching the ground. We're rotating a different way, and I think that was the issue. So from now on, we're releasing just what we need to load the bridle, and that's it.
Okay, so we come back to the boat. We went into town. We were sort of settled. We it was fine. We were next to this boat. We come back to the boat, and we're really close because our boat and their their boat isn't rotating and our boat's rotating. Mm-hmm. So we go, okay, I guess, let's kind of move up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we decide to move up a little bit, and we're almost settled, up and away. So we're almost settled. We spent, I don't know, half an hour doing that, or so, and we're almost settled. And this other boat comes up and just literally parks right between us and the other boat.
Yeah.
In the space that we were trying to give the other boat some space.
Which I wish the other boat would have been a little bit more vocal, because we just give space between us and that boat.
Because we were trying to be nice, yeah.
And one, you don't end up first we're still in the process of anchoring. We're not done.
Right.
We're done, but we're observing things, we're checking things. And then you come and you anchor next to a boat who's just finishing the process of anchoring. That's like bad manner. Like, let the person finish their stuff, figure out if that's where they want to be, and don't just drop your anchor there. And now, at times, so they drop, we're basically parallel to each other, and they are also close to the other blue boat we were talking about. So we moved away from that blue boat. We gave them space, and then this guy just basically parks on top of it, and then next to us.
There's all different, in addition to all different kinds of experience. I think there's all different kinds of, manners, I guess.
Yeah, in this case.
Or risk tolerance. Like, I don't know what it is. But
in this case, he happened to be French, so I talked to him in French. And I said, you're just too close here. And then he said, "Oh, no worries. If I need to move, I'm the last one. I will move." So that's part of the protocol. So you're like, okay, fair enough. But meanwhile,
we got really close.
Meanwhile, the whole time that he's not moving, you're spending time watching and wasting.
And the whole time you're like, should I get a fender? Like, is he too close? And so hours go by, and you're spending your time like that.
Yeah. And eventually, you had to wait for the perfect wind where we're now like really close to each other, our sterns, and now it's like, I talked to the lady. It's like, we're just way too close. I'm not going to, nobody's going to sleep tonight. So it's like, then eventually, oh no, he re-anchored. The first time he re-anchored.
Oh, that's right.
Ended up in the exact same spot. And it's like, really? And eventually the second time he moved in between two other boats, and that was a decent job. But why waste 2 hours when somebody is not comfortable? The other boat didn't say anything, but clearly he was on top of them too. That was like bad manners from the beginning. So just move and re-anchor, because you're not going to enjoy yourself. And that's like 3 boats were basically like monitoring what's going on.
Yeah, it's, and I don't mean to sound like we're complaining, but I can't express enough how much mind space it occupies and how much time it occupies kind of worrying about it. And some people are just comfortable coming in and they plop it and like go to the beach and stuff. I guess we're just not, I don't know, we're not at that point yet, maybe, or, you know, we're just kind of trying to be polite and diligent and everything else. So we have, we have now kind of figured out a tie to, you know, a stern line
the
system here a little bit.
A couple of strategies is you come in a crowded anchorage. The observation is people don't want to go through a sea of boats to go look for space on the other side of the entrance of the bay. Because, it's narrow and it's crowded, so people are going to basically
stop at the front.
Yeah. They're also not going to be willing to put the effort to do a short tie. And also, they're not going to be willing to anchor in shallow waters because they're not sure. So, the conclusion of all this is just go through the anchorage, find a path between the boats slowly, and go check way deep in the anchorage if there is a spot.
And know your depth and know how close you can get. And, you know, we're close now, but this is much closer than we were. Remember, I think I had mentioned in an earlier podcast in Croatia, I was like, whoa, we're really close. I think I'm getting more comfortable with how close we are to shore because, you know, you just build confidence, understanding a little bit more about what you can fit your boat into and how long the shore ties are. So now we're pretty close. You recalibrated the depth gauge.
Yeah, so we have under the keel, we have 1.3 meters of water, which is an advantage for us because we are catamaran, so we have much more shallow depth than a monohull. So that gives us more options. Also, compared to a chartering boat, they typically move every day. So one, they don't have the experience to tie to shore. They might not have the lines. You know, it's a bit more work. They know they're moving the next day. For us, it's worth doing the extra work.
Yeah.
Because then we're going to stay for 3-4 days. And then when you're like short tie, using short ties, like your butt is towards the shore, then the only boats that can come close to you are basically to your right and your left. Although what I just observed, just like recently, like this afternoon, is some boats are anchoring in front of you. Nobody has done it in front of our boat so far, but on boats next to us. And yes, the wind is basically to our stern. So they're anchoring in front of the bow of the boat that is tied to shore. So the boat is not moving. And they're dropping an anchor, yes, with the wind going into their bow, like there is some distance, but they're not accounting for the fact that they can do a 360.
They'll swing and you won't.
And you won't, So that's a new one. It's like, wow, you drop your anchor, this boat, I don't know if they realize that this boat is not going to turn. So if there is a major wind shift, then you end up in the bow of this boat.
And then there was a boat kind of circling, looking to drop the anchor right in front of ours, and I had to go out and just explain where the anchor was, and then they changed their mind. So that was fine. And then last night, we got all settled, and then we went to dinner. We came back, I don't know, about 9:30 or 9:45, and there was a charter boat, I mean, so close to the next boat over. I mean, there's not really enough space between our boat and this yacht that was also had a shore tie. And we came back and someone kind of snuck right in there. But they're so close to the other yacht. Maybe, what do you think, like 2 meters, 3 meters? I mean, they all put their fenders out.
Yeah. They were that close without, they must be friends.
Yeah, we thought they were friends.
But it happened that they're not. And they were really obnoxious because...
Yeah, they were up till like 2 a.m. or something.
And they're in their cockpits,
really loud,
laughing and talking. Yes, you're on vacation, but, you know, it's quiet bay. So
Yeah.
you're talking
You're trying to be
middle of the night.
yeah, conscientious.
So yeah. So
Anyway, so we're again not trying to complain, but just I think more about knowing what to expect and making sure you have a plan. We need to come up with some things to say, like if they were going to stay one more day loud like that, I need to figure out some nice thing to say.
No, I would have definitely talked to them to
Yeah.
say like, sure,
Well,
just
what do you say?
party in town until midnight, and then when you come back to your boat, just
Yeah.
continue the party inside your salon.
Yeah,
not in the cockpit.
maybe some of our listeners might have like a good tactful thing to say or something to suggest. I don't know, because I just want to go out and say, please, like, don't like it's. Do you realize how late it is? I don't know. Maybe we're just
and how loud you sound
so
in
loud.
the bay.
Yeah. Anyway, so what else can we complain about anchoring?
No, it's not complaining. It's just to be realistic. And
Yeah.
It's going to be, the other option is just find anchorages that are away from like
Yeah, this is
major
another thing.
destinations.
This is another thing is, you want to go to the destinations, right? Because these are places obviously that are beautiful. We also have started paying attention to the charter boats and where they go, and the days that they go.
So what happens is, they chartered, they got into their boat Saturday, and they left probably Corfu on Sunday. So now,
Today's Sunday.
Now we know. So basically, you need to go to the
popular spots like Thursday, Friday, or something.
No, go to the, like there you see Dream Yacht charter boats, for example. Well, go to the Dream Yacht charter website. And they're all leaving on Sunday mornings and coming back on Saturday morning. So you kind of look. They usually have like a
suggested itinerary,
1 week itinerary.
Right.
So it might be Corfu to Paxos, and then you do this. Maybe they go down to Gaios, further south from Paxos. So now you need to check that. And for us, we thought about leaving tomorrow. Now we have to reconsider because we don't want to be in cycle with those guys.
Yeah,
and
let
so
them go.
Let them
Maybe you
enjoy
go to
this
the
bay.
nice places, midweek when they're farther out or something like that.
Yeah. And then so that's something we need to look at. And when we move, we have to look where the destinations, as we keep moving. But that's definitely something to take into account. And on the weekend, on Sunday, for example, you just go find yourself an anchorage that is just remote, where people don't go to.
Mm-hmm. So let's just quickly do a recap of what we have. So we have a 85-pound Mantis anchor, which has been great. It digs right in. Seaweed's been weird. It's touch and go on the seaweed.
And that's 38.5 kilos for people who don't do pounds.
It's got a swivel. Yeah. It's got a swivel attachment.
Yeah, it's a Mantis. So we have the whole, Mantis swivel, Mantis anchor. And also we have a Mantis bridle and snubber.
Right. And then how much chain do we have?
Total, we have 100 meters of chain.
100 meters of chain.
Yeah.
And then our stern ties, our shore ties from the stern, we've got a wheel with, I don't know, people call it tape or webbing, or I don't know what it's called. It's sort of like a strap.
Mm-hmm.
How many meters?
70 meters for this one.
70 meters. And then on the end, we bought at a hardware store, there are these big
towing straps.
Or lifting straps, yeah. So we have those to put around rocks. They're a little bit more
like 3 meters each.
Reinforced. Yeah, 3 or 4, I think.
And they already come at the ends. You have loops.
Yeah.
So we have a shackle there.
Yeah, those are great.
And then...
and then the line is, 100 meters of...
we have another one. Yeah, it's like a 3-strand...
a braid.
Yeah. And this one is 100 meters. I forgot the diameter. It's
it's thick.
Normal for anchoring.
It's a big line, and we don't. What we did is we used the strap to sort of attach ourselves and then figure out if we like it or not. There's been times when it's made a lot of noise by flapping and whirling in the wind at the right angle. Right now, we seem to like it. It's fine. So we use the braid line on the other side. Usually we use about 50 meters.
Yeah, we've divided the 100-meter line, but we have it in two bags,
parts,
two
yeah.
diving bags. So we take one bag, we take both bags out, and then usually we can do the attachment with just taking the line out of one bag. But we found in some situation, if the strap we're talking about starts to be flapping so much into the wind, you could ease it a little bit so it gets into the water and it doesn't flap so much. Or in our case, because we have this one long line, we take it all the way outside above the davits, and the other end we basically attach it to the other side.
Right. And we talked about separating it into two lines, but we kind of feel like it's good to have one big long line too.
Yeah.
So
It
that's
might be
another
useful.
Yeah, you never know.
In some places.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're using right now. We've talked about, and you and I have different opinions or different ideas on the anchor marker, the little ball things, because our anchor goes down from the middle of the boat. So there's no really easy way to attach the little floating ball, I guess. It's a floating ball that marks where your anchor is, so people can kind of see where your anchor is. And then there's different kind of ideas about what would happen potentially to that line. It could get caught. Someone can, at night drive over it and pull it up, and then it pulls up your anchor. So, there's lots of opinions about that. It's easy for us. We don't use it because there's no easy way to attach it. So that's what we're doing right now. So no one can really see where our anchor's at.
And maybe in the bay, I think
there's a few handful maybe that have them.
Yeah, the most. Yeah. 2-3 I've seen. And if you one boat has a stern anchor because it's a monohull, and they want to put the bow into the swell. Mostly it happens at night. It gets a little bit more swell. Mm-hmm. So they use their stern anchor to move their bow into the swell. So they in this case, they don't have one for their bow anchor, but they have one for the stern anchor, a little bowl, to show that behind them, they're not going to rotate.
Right.
So if somebody anchors next to them, they have to look at that. It makes people think like, okay, you have a stern anchor.
Right.
But so I think in this case, if you have a stern anchor, it might make sense.
Right. And then we have the black anchor marker thing that we hang sometimes. We haven't hung it here.
Oh, the day.
The day anchor light or whatever it is. It's like a black plastic ball thing.
Yeah. I think I've seen one boat with it here. Nobody cares about it.
It seems like nobody pays attention.
Yeah, if a boat hits you, it might be good to have it. We've been using it in Croatia.
You mean for insurance purposes?
I guess.
It was out,
Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, so that's our anchor setup. Anything about diving on the anchor? Anything?
No,
it's nice it's comforting to look at how dug in it is. Definitely makes you feel good.
There was a big wind shift the other day, and you can see where the rotation of the anchor, the chain, how it kind of like probably moved like 45 degrees, maybe even more. So it in this case, it digs in the anchor even more. I think in sand with the anchor we have, and we put up to 2,000 RPM, 2 engines. That's pretty solid.
Great. Yeah.
At least in this type in sand bottom. In Corfu, you had to find a sandy patch between the grass, which was most of the anchorage, but you have some big sandy patches. But the sand was definitely like hard sand.
It was harder. It was more like mud.
You could get the tip in, but you were not like, okay, now the whole anchor is dug in.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit different. But I think, we'll probably see more sandy anchorages around here. Or even if it's seagrass, in Corfu it's very, very thick. But I think the patches we see so far, the anchor can probably go through them, and then it's sand below that. So
Well, more will be revealed on our anchoring adventure, and as the season goes by. But it's definitely, we wanted to talk about it because we're also buddy boating with a couple, Vu and Bella, who we met in Montenegro. And we literally spent maybe 2 hours talking about anchoring and anchoring drama the other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, we spend this much time thinking about it and talking about it. It's definitely worth doing a podcast.
And that's, well, at first, maybe we should do a podcast about buddy boating. It has many advantages.
Yeah.
But one advantage is when you anchor, there is space for two. Then you have at least one side covered.
Yeah,
or
you
one
know,
angle.
At least one of your neighbors is going to be nice.
Yeah, and then the other side, you're like, okay, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then, so that has one of these advantages among many others.
Yep, and we're starting to get some wind noise here. I apologize for that. The wind's picking up a little bit. But anyway, that covers it for anchoring. If you have any additional questions or even advice, again, if anybody has any good things to say about trying to get your neighbor to be more quiet in the middle of the night, we're also all ears for that, because I think we just want them to be quiet. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so until next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, or share with another covert castaway. Fair winds for now.